Welcome back to NaturalOne, the D&D channel equivalent of a public restroom hand dryer. It technically does something, but everyone knows there are better options. We're back once again to force iconic pop culture characters into the D&D 5e system, whether it makes sense or not. And today, we're building the Doomslayer, the one-man extinction event, the eternal tormentor of hell, and the sole reason demons check their closets before going to bed. But don't worry, we'll make sure he still gets to be faster than God intended, punch things so hard they become past tense, and turn every combat encounter into a speedrun. So grab your shotgun, cue the metal soundtrack, and get ready to rip and tear through this build.
They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse.
Before we start dishing out the stats, let's be clear. Doomslayer doesn't balance his attributes, he maxes out obliteration and dumps everything that isn't directly related to murder speed efficiency. But since your DM insists that we use numbers instead of just writing yes under strength, we'll break it down for you. It all starts with a 15 in strength, because ripping and tearing isn't just a catchphrase, it's a way of life. If Doomslayer had to roll dice for his melee attacks, the dice would apologize. Too bad you do, so this will have to do for now. Follow that up with a meaty 14 in Constitution. Hell itself couldn't kill him, so good luck to whatever goblin with a rusty dagger thinks they have a shot. Follow that up with a 13 in Dexterity. Not maxed out because he's built like a brick wall, but he still runs faster than common sense allows. Also, dodging fireballs by just not caring is a skill in itself. A solid 12 in Intelligence, because he knows exactly how to operate ancient alien technology and assemble a super shotgun from spare parts in the middle of a war zone. But will he ever use his intelligence for anything other than making things explode? Probably not. A solid 10 in Wisdom. He has a one-track mind. Find demon, kill demon, repeat. Philosophical questions like, should I, or did they have a family, never enter the equation. And let's end it all with an 8 in Charisma. Talking, negotiating, diplomacy. He once had a conversation with a demon, and it ended with a demon being removed from existence.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you.
For his lineage, we're going with Scourge Aasimar, because what better way to embody the eternal nightmare of hell than by literally glowing with righteous fury? Doomslayer doesn't just kill demons, he burns so brightly with raw rage that they take damage just by existing near him. He gets a +2 in Constitution so he can shrug off getting launched across an arena, and a +1 in Strength so he can keep punching things into their component atoms. Dark Vision lets him see the terror in a demon's eyes before it vanishes, and resistances to necrotic and radiant damage make him even harder to put down. Healing Hands lets him slap a few hit points back into someone before going back to extermination duty, or probably putting it himself, which he would prefer. And at level 3, Radiant Consumption ensures that simply standing next to him is hazardous to your health. He also knows Infernal, not because he wants to negotiate, but so he can understand the demon's final words, right before they stop existing. For background, Soldier is the obvious choice. Not because Doomslayer follows orders, but because he was the order. Pure, unfiltered, demon-annihilating military efficiency. He gets Athletics because nobody double jumps in armor quite like him, and Intimidation because his mere presence makes hell itself reconsider its life choices. He also has proficiency with land vehicles, which is great if you ever need to drive something that isn't a demon skull into the pavement.
Guts. Huge guts. Kill them. Must kill them all.
At level 1, we start with Barbarian, because Doomslayer isn't here to finesse his way through combat, he's here to break everything in his path with Rage. This gives him resistance to physical damage, extra damage on melee attacks, and the ability to power through pain like it's just another Tuesday. He also gets unarmored defense, but let's be real, he should wear armor because he looks cooler that way. For skills, he picks up Perception to make sure no demon sneaks up on him, as if they even try, and Survival, because navigating through hell like it's his backyard is just part of the job. At level 2, Barbarian gives him Danger Sense, letting him dodge fireballs, explosions, and other nonsense with ease, as if he wasn't already running circles around everything. Then there's Reckless Attack, which lets him throw accuracy concerns out the window in favor of hitting harder, faster, and with complete disregard for self-preservation. Honestly, the only thing reckless about it is thinking his enemies ever had a chance in the first place. At level 3, he embraces his Divine Fury and takes the path of the Zealot, because what's Doomslayer if not a holy force of destruction? Divine Fury ensures his first attack each turn gets an extra 1d6 plus half his Barbarian level in either necrotic or radiant damage, meaning he can choose whether to disintegrate demons with Righteous Fury or extra Righteous Fury. Then there's Warrior of the Gods, which makes him even harder to keep dead. Resurrection spells no longer require material components to bring him back, not that he needs them, and because Doomslayer has a soft side, Primal Knowledge gives him proficiency in animal handling, purely for his deep and abiding love for Isabelle from Animal Crossing. Even the Slayer needs a break sometimes. Reaching level 4, Doomslayer gets his first ability score improvement, and there's only one logical choice. A +2 in strength, bring it up to an 18. Because if he isn't hitting things so hard they cease to exist on a conceptual level, what's even the point? More strength means more destruction, and that's always the right call. By the time he hits level 5, things starts getting truly unfair. For everyone except him. Extra attack means he can now strike twice per turn, which is double the violence at no extra cost. On top of that, fast movement kicks in, increasing his speed by 10 feet as long as he's not wearing heavy armor. Considering he moves like he's speedrunning real life, this just makes him an even bigger blur of destruction. At level 6, his unshakable willpower manifests through fanatical focus, allowing him to reroll a failed saving throw once per rage. Whether it's mind control, paralysis, or some demon trying to slow him down, he simply refuses to let it happen. If it doesn't keep him moving forward at full speed, he rejects it outright. Simple as that. At level 7, Doomslayer's battle instincts hit superhuman levels with Feral Instinct, giving him advantage on initiative rolls and ensuring he always acts first. Because waiting his turn is for people who aren't the little scourge of hell. On top of that, if someone somehow manages to surprise him, which is unlikely, he can still act normally as long as he immediately enters rage. Which, let's be real, was going to happen anyway. And just to make sure he stays on the offensive, Instinctive Pounce lets him move up to half his movement speed the moment he rages, making him an even deadlier blur of devastation. For level 8, it's time for another ability score improvement, and naturally, we're maxing out strength at 20. Doomslayer doesn't try to obliterate his enemies, he simply does. And now with the raw power to make every punch, slash, and shotgun blast even more devastating, anything less than a 20 would be disrespectful to his entire existence. By level 9, things get even nastier with Brutal Critical, adding an extra damage die whenever he lands a critical hit. This means that when Doomslayer goes for a headshot, there's no maybe about it. It's a guaranteed explosion of whatever unfortunate soul was in the way. The demons weren't scared before? Well, now they are. At level 10, Doomslayer cranks his already terrifying presence up to divine levels with Zealous Presence, allowing him to unleash a battle cry that fills up to 10 creatures with the same Righteous Fury that fuels him. For one turn, they all get advantage on attack rolls and saving throws, which is great if he ever finds allies who can keep up with him. Spoiler alert, they can't. He also gains another skill from Primal Knowledge, and it has to be nature? Wait, I can justify this. It's because he knows hell so well, down to even the most obscure ecosystem in hell? That was pretty good, huh? Deserves a subscribe, maybe? No? Whatever, next level. At level 11, Doomslayer officially stops believing in death thanks to Relentless Rage. If he drops to 0 hit points while raging, he can make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw to stay up at 1 hit point instead. And every time this happens in the same fight, the DC increases by 5, which, let's be real, won't be an issue for someone who treats pain like background noise. The demons can try all they want, but knocking them down for good just isn't an option.
You can't just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
By level 12, it's time for another ability score improvement, and this time we're boosting Constitution to 18. Because Doomslayer isn't just strong, he's also absurdly durable. More hit points, better saving throws, and an even higher chance of shrugging off lethal damage like it's a mild inconvenience. At this point, the only thing more unstoppable than him is his own soundtrack. At level 13, Doomslayer doubles down on the carnage with brutal critical, but now twice, meaning every critical hit now gets an extra 2 damage dice. At this point, any unfortunate soul on the receiving end of a nat 20 is getting reduced to a fine mist, and the demons are seriously considering retirement. At level 14, he transcends even the concept of mortality with Rage Beyond Death, because dying is for lesser beings. While raging, hitting 0 hit points no longer knocks him unconscious, meaning he keeps fighting no matter how much damage he takes. He still has to make death saving throws, but even failing all of them won't kill him until his rage ends, which just means he has to kill everything fast enough that it doesn't matter. Doomslayer doesn't go down, he just runs out of things to kill. At level 15, we're taking a detour into Fighter, because even Doomslayer can appreciate a little tactical destruction. First up, he grabs the archery fighting style, because, crossbows. Sorry, YouTube. Crossbows exist. And if anyone in D&D deserves to be better at ranged combat, it's the guy whose entire arsenal is just different flavors of death delivery. On top of that, he gets Second Wind, letting him regain 1d10 plus his fighter level and hit points as a bonus action once per short rest. Not that he needs the healing, but sometimes it's nice to flex on the forces of hell by refusing to die even harder. At level 16, Doomslayer gets Action Surge, because 1 turn per round just isn't enough when you're a one-man genocide. Once per short or long rest, he can take an extra action on his turn, meaning he can attack even more, move even faster, and rip and tear with maximum efficiency. More actions means more carnage, and more carnage means the demons are officially out of coping mechanisms. At level 17, he takes Rune Knight, because what's better than an unstoppable killing machine? An unstoppable killing machine the size of a truck. First, he gets proficiency in Smith's tools, which is cool, but let's be honest, he's not here for craftsmanship. More importantly, he learns to speak giant, because sometimes you need to tell a Balor to sit down before you reduce it to component parts. Then come the runes, and we're grabbing the Frost rune for extra durability, and the Fire rune, because setting things on fire just by hitting them is peak Doomslayer energy. But the real prize is Giant's Might, which lets him grow to large size and hit even harder for 1 minute as a bonus action. Advantage on strength checks and saves, and extra damage once per turn? That's just overkill, and Doomslayer loves overkill. At level 18, it's time for another ability score improvement, and we're grabbing Tough, because having enough hit points is a concept that simply doesn't exist for Doomslayer. This feat gives him plus 2 hit points per level, meaning he's now even harder to put down. At this point, he's not just unstoppable, he's a walking apocalypse with health to spare. The demons had a bad time before, but now they're just screaming in existential dread. At level 19, Doomslayer returns to Barbarian 15, unlocking Persistent Rage, because at this point, he's just too angry to stop. Normally, rage ends if you don't attack or take damage, but not anymore. Now it only ends if he falls unconscious or chooses to end it, which, let's be honest, he won't. This means he can stay in perpetual demon mulching mode for as long as he wants, turning every fight into an eternal slaughterhouse. The demons were already running out of hope, but now they don't even get bathroom breaks. Level 20, he finishes off with Barbarian level 16 and picks up the Slasher feat, because apparently not enough things were bleeding yet. First, he gets plus 1 in dexterity, bumping it to a 14, which makes him a little faster and a little harder to hit. But the real fun comes from the bonus effects. Every time he hits with a slashing attack, he can slow his target by 10 feet, because running is for cowards. And if he crits, the poor demon he just bisected now has disadvantage on all attack rolls until his next turn, meaning they get to watch their life flash before their eyes while he loads the next shotgun shell. At this point, the Doomslayer isn't just a walking death sentence, he's a natural disaster in, I guess, a not-so-human form.
Rip and tear until it is done.
Now that we've pieced together this walking apocalypse, let's take a look at what makes Doomslayer so damn unstoppable. He is an absolute tank. Doomslayer isn't just tough, he's practically immortal. With 16 AC and 261 hit points, effectively doubled when raging, He shrugs off damage like it's just bad weather. He's got resistance to necrotic and radiant damage, self-heals with second wind and healing hands, re-rolling on failed saves with fanatical focus, and oh yeah, he literally cannot die while raging. Thanks to Rage Beyond Death and Persistent Rage, he'll keep swinging even after hitting 0 hit points. And if someone actually manages to finish him off, Warrior of the Gods brings him back like it's a casual Tuesday. Let's couple that with his physical strength. He has a 20 in strength, and boosts from Frost Rune, and advantage from either Rage or Giant Smite. This guy could probably bench press a Tarask. Add in a plus 11 athletics check and strength save, and you've got someone who can leap, climb, or suplex his way through any obstacle in his path. He's ripping and tearing through his enemies. He hits like an angry freight train made of swords and fire. With a plus 11 to hit at advantage, his sword does 2d6 plus 5 slashing base, plus a 4 from Rage, plus 2d6 from the Fire Rune, plus 1d6 from Giant Smite, plus 1d6 plus 8 from Divine Fury, and a plus 12 from Radiant Consumption, and that's just the beginning. Then we sprinkle in brutal criticals, the Slasher Feat giving disadvantage on enemy attacks, and extra Radiant Spice on crits, and you've got someone who doesn't fight so much as he deletes things from existence. And if they're too far away, he's got a plus 10 to hit with a crossbow, still dripping with that bonus damage. And he's ready to go at a moment's notice. Between Feral Instincts at initiative advantage, Instinctive Pounce, Perception Proficiency, Danger Sense, and Dark Vision, Doomslayer is on high alert 24/7. Surprise rounds, traps, shadows, please! He's already mid-sprint toward the thing making the noise. But nothing is perfect, except Cobbler's tools, obviously. So let's take a peek at what could maybe slow this guy down. Starting off, his soft stats took a blow. Let's be honest, he's not winning any spelling bees. Low intelligence, wisdom, and charisma means Doomslayer is more likely to kick in the door than ask nicely or solve a riddle. If the campaign suddenly turns into a political thriller or a trivia night, he's going to start swinging out of pure frustration. And yes, his range is good, but it's not great. He can snipe with a crossbow, but without crossbow expert, it's a one-shot per turn kind of deal. More boomstick than machine gun. And with only a plus 2 to dexterity, it's not exactly a marksman build. Let's just say if the enemy's on a cliff, Doomslayer is already climbing it with rage in his eyes. Range be damned. And the Isabel thing is deeply unsettling to me. Look, at first it's kind of funny. You know, Doomguy and Isabel, rage and kindness, ripping and tearing, and town ordinances. Ha, cute. Well, I don't know if the game designers meant for this to happen, but it's funny. But then you scroll a little further. You find the fan art, the shipping threads, the animations. There's an entire corner of the internet dedicated to this pairing, and it is not safe. People are writing poetry about them holding hands in the blood-soaked fields of hell. Someone made a wedding video. Someone else wrote an 80-chapter slow burn romance where she tames his rage with tea and head pats. Why is there so much fanfiction? Why does half of it have the mature tags? Why is there merch? Why did I find a plushie of them kissing? Why did I read the phrase, Isabel's dainty paw cupped Doomguy's bloody cheek? And there's more to that. I just wanted to make a character build. Now I know far too much about Doomabel, and I will never be the same again. And that wraps up this absolute beast of a build. If you've enjoyed this descent into pure destruction, hit that like button, subscribe, and smash that notification bell. No demons needed. Want to bring this rage machine into your own campaign? Check out our Patreon where you can grab this build and many others absolutely free. No hellscapes or chainsaw fights involved. Be sure to drop your thoughts, meme suggestions, or just tell us about any characters you want to see. We might even build them before the demons catch us. Well, someone on that weird forum I found for this video suggested some Gravity Falls story about Taco Bell, so I'll be busy until next time, where we'll catch you on the flip side.
Warning. Demonic presence threat level 5 entering main laboratory.